Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting Propagandacast with me, your host, ImperialDane, Heroes Reich, Defender of the Fatherland, Master of Propaganda, here to deliver you onto your ears more wonderful propaganda, and of course to your eyes as well, although that's handled rather by Fraps and company of Heroes the game, as long as Fraps is willing, and I have appeased it with enough sacrifices. Never mind that, you didn't hear it. Anyhow, we are having a 1 versus 1 on Semois. Yes, indeed, a city fight in the dark. Well, more of a village fight, I suppose. I mean, there's not that much of urban warfare over a small French village, but, you know, we can always pretend. No, we can't. That's a bit hard when it's just a French village, but nonetheless, on 1 versus 1, we will be seeing in the southern corner GrowCZ. Yes, indeed. Affable chap around level 10. When I played him, he was then level 11. Yes, indeed, but it still was a rather interesting fight. Partly because I wasn't really doing too well that time, so I mean, you have some like my mistakes to sort of have a look at, and he actually played pretty well. I mean, he's actually not a bad player. He's sort of already level 11 now that I looked at it, so he's certainly making progress. And of course, opposing him shall be me, ImperialDane. Ja, mein Herr. Of Sir Panzer Lehr. Opposing shall be, of course, our friend here, GrowCZ of the, I don't know, 31st Infantry Division, and let us get right down to it. The Panzer Lehr, one of the regular army's elite divisions. In fact, it was so elite that unlike most elite divisions, in fact, it was highly equipped with armored half-tracks, which, in fact, not even the SS could actually muster in the same sense. So that actually rather made them stay apart, besides the fact that they had a lot of, you know, highly veteran instructors and other veteran personnel in the division. And well, hello there, always nice with a bit of politeness. There are my quarters going up, barracks going up for him. Heading towards the west, nothing unusual there. This point, very contentious point of harassment, also for the south. Of course, in particular for the Wehrmacht, so it's not unusual to see them play down some barbed wire around this point, since this and this point are the only +10 fuel points on the map. Volksgrenadiers on the way, that's rather my preferred start. 2 Volksgrenadier teams and an MG42. And if I lose, will you upload this video? Well, if I lose, I mean, I'll lose. I mean, that sort of implies you do it on purpose. And yes, if it's a good game, I mean, again, I won't try to see if, you know, cast a bad game. But I thought this was actually pretty interesting, and it's actually a bit old, but I've been a bit preoccupied. I wasn't entirely sure if I should cast this. Volksgrenadier heading towards the center, though. Rifleman ready from the barracks. And yes, I don't upload every game I win, otherwise I'd have to upload, well, a few more than this. I certainly also lose some, and I certainly, when I played this game, had been a rather nasty streak of losing some tiresome games. And for those asking, will I show those? No. That shall not be the case. So kindly don't ask. Engineers heading towards the south, munitions being secured, rifleman there, heading towards the center of the Volksgrenadiers to secure that victory point, although at the same time I'd rather get the sense that something might be going on here, and yes indeed, rifleman running towards here. I sort of noticed something on the minimap right there, and thus the rifleman runs straight into my Volksgrenadiers with their Kar98K rifles and the one with the SGG-44 in single shot mode. Rifleman trying to flank about, Volksgrenadiers opening up, rifleman heading towards some heavy cover there in a nice dominating position off the town square. Not a bad move at all. Then he actually moves onwards and goes for a heavier flank. Volksgrenadiers arriving there. Rifleman and Volksgrenadiers might engage each other. There we go. Small engagement there. Rifleman going straight for the cutoff point, running into further Volksgrenadiers. 10 Volksgrenadiers again, 6 riflemen. How shall this ever go? Volksgrenadiers, though, might get into a bit of a nasty position. They're arriving awfully close, but further Volksgrenadiers are arriving. Riflemen are under quite intense firepower, although further riflemen are arriving to assist the situation. Riflemen caught in crossfire, 1 down, taking rather heavy losses, or at least they're getting quite wounded. 3 men down for only 2 Volksgrenadiers. Well, actually not pretty bad, but that leaves 6 riflemen off against 8 Volksgrenadiers. How shall this ever go? And of course there might be an attempt at flanking, since in this sort of fight it might actually not go too well, since this will actually be in the favor of the rifleman, where this will sort of be close quarters. And there we go, Volksgrenadiers flanking, and that of course is the key of flanking, you know, occupying the team with one team force, and then you move the other one, the flanking force, in to sort of deal with them. That of course get some nice shots off on the rifleman, and then the Volksgrenadiers move in to sort of get some good shots there again, where the cover doesn't apply again. Heavy cover is directional, and that's sort of a part of flanking, you know. that you hit them where the cover isn't applying while they're sort of sticking to the heavy cover for dear life. Volksgrenadiers are taking quite a beating as of course the riflemen were able to get up close. MG42 arriving, Pioneers and Engineers fighting in the south. So far so good. Volksgrenadiers need to retreat, 1 man down. MG42 getting the good shot off right there. 1 rifleman down, 3 down, but certainly this was the fight to the advantage of the Americans. Quite some heavy losses for my Volksgrenadier forces. Pioneers facing off against the Engineers. And further riflemen it looks like might be arriving there. Yes, indeed, GrowCZ is not giving up. Pioneers in the north, my goodness. And the 3rd Volksgrenadier team on the way, I rather prefer that. Nice and dandy, and further Volksgrenadiers being reinforced as usual. MG42 getting flanked, rather nice maneuver right there. Making things a bit hazardous for my MG42. Rifleman taking up position right there. And the MG42 pulling back behind the well. Pioneers and Engineers facing off against the north, although the Pioneers here might not. In fact, they actually get away with it, since the Engineers are a bit more occupied with other things. But there we go, moving away. Rifleman getting suppressed by the MG42 behind the well. Not a magic well as far as I were. But the Riflemen are on the run. Volksgrenadiers is ready to support the MG42 once more. Engineers seem a bit flabbergasted. There were some Pioneers that ran about them, and now they're sort of making up excuses as to why the Pioneers were allowed to run past them, I suppose. Whatever excuses they will make up, I have no idea. And further, Volksgrenadiers arriving. MG42 setting up quite a bit of firepower being directed against these riflemen. Further, Volksgrenadiers arriving to make things a bit more interesting, while others are moving in to deal with the Engineers here. Tell them to put a stop to that. And the riflemen, oh dear, some Volksgrenadiers moving a bit too close. I got a bit bold there, and riflemen moving in perhaps for another flank. Engineers forced away in the south. Pioneers might soon get a surprise visit from the riflemen. And riflemen moving in for a nice assault right there, forcing me to shift my entire position, taking up position in the heavy cover. And running into the house, MG42 firing away. And moving in to cut a bit of wire there. Sneaky, sneaky, skirmish phase on the way.
The enemy is seizing our territory.
Hoping, of course, to cut me off from my fuel. The bastard. And riflemen getting a bit shot off as Volksgrenadiers get ever closer. Other riflemen moving in. Hiding, sticking close to the church. Volksgrenadier down. Very low on men, in fact, only 3. And those are very low health Volksgrenadiers. Others moving in, might take our position in the house. Get some good shots off on those riflemen. And the MG42 catches them out in the open, suppressing them. And this is not looking good for the riflemen, forced into retreat. The others still hiding behind the church, not quite wanting to peek out their heads. Pioneers moving in to deal with the Engineers, but the fuel is no longer in the hands of the Wehrmacht. Another Pioneer team on the way. Since all my other Pioneers are a bit preoccupied, I rather figure in this case I might want some more Pioneers to deal with that. The construction of the Krieg barracks, and we are seeing a supply yard up, which of course could mean that he's going for a multiple. Then again, he might just want to deal with the upkeep, and of course, and then he of course could be getting BARs or hand grenades. There's certainly something going on in the barracks. Something green is flashing, thankfully a light and not some sort of dark sorceress magic. And looks like the riflemen are getting ready for another flank. Further riflemen actually getting ready from GrowCZ. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. My goodness, that's 5 rifleman teams. That's quite aggressive, quite bold, and certainly also a good reason to get a supply yard. But certainly going to keep up the pressure on me. And riflemen moving in towards the north. Pioneers securing the victory point, but are very soon going to get another surprise. MP40s equipped. Riflemen got spotted as they tried to flank, and are now getting enfiladed, or at least shot up. I don't know what it means, nonetheless. Krieg barracks up. Car 98K on the way just as the motor pool is going up. Of course, he probably spent a bit more manpower on the rifleman. Of course, meaning it was a bit delayed. Rifleman goes down. Volksgrenadier sort of mucking about, keeping them occupied.
The enemy advances.
Center area is still not mine, and the fuel once more going up. And yes, this is not the best timing. I am casting again. If you're sort of having me on my friends list again, I'll say in a skirmish. That means replay as I never play skirmish, and that also more specifically means if I'm watching a replay, I cannot reply. It's simple as that. It's not because I'm sort of ignoring you or anything. It's just because, well, I can't respond while I'm in a replay. And Rifleman engaging the Volksgrenadiers. No, not time to go look at that. Rifleman taking quite some losses in this case though. Oh dear, Rifleman team in fact utterly slaughtered by the heroic Volksgrenadiers, and another team moves in, but there the Volksgrenadier goes down. Lead man lost. A fight beneath the trees. And Rifleman moving in from north. Engineers in fact with flamethrowers, a bit of barbed wire there to protect against flanking. MG42 setting up further Volksgrenadiers. No, Pioneers arriving. Oh dear, so much going on. And the Volksgrenadiers have to retake this. Motor pool is ready. And the engineers are making a dash for it. The central victory point has still not been secured actually. And now a Kampfkraft centers up. Support unit veterancy 1. Partly for the fact that it gives an MG42 increased accuracy and decreased reload time, which I rather find to be quite an advantageous little thing. Since of course that means you'll be able to kill opposing units quite a bit faster. Further Pioneers arriving, and of course Pioneers will also get a bit. In that case, that's... And I have absolutely no idea what he's doing. That's rather up to himself to sort of figure that one out. I am not a sorcerer that can read his mind. And well, I rather quickly lost that one. That was quite depressing. And yes, we can all make mistakes. All bad things can... Yeah, oh dear, that was terrible, that game. Oh, so terrible.
Forward supply lines are broken.
And engineers once more moving in to harass that point. Really liking doing that harassment bit. Nothing wrong in that, of course. Grenadiers on survey. Rifleman getting engaged. A few Volksgrenadiers moving in to put a stop to that Rifleman nonsense. MP40s at the lead. And the Rifleman rather realised the folly of the actions. M8 moving in from the north. And the Pak-38 gets off a few good shots. The MG42 retreats. And the M8 needs to get away. It needs to get behind the cafe before the Pak-38 gets the killing blow. And of course it needs to get away from those Volksgrenadiers with those nasty Panzerfaust. Lest it fancy a rocket up its arse. And there we go. Too late. A Panzerfaust enema was delivered by the glorious warriors of the Wehrmacht. And the Pak-38 blows open the cemetery walls. And no, it's not the dead that's crawling out, just Americans. And a quick counter movement from the Volksgrenadiers to put a stop to that. MP40s blazing through the night. And the Riflemen are taking quite a beating. Engineers with flamethrowers trying to move in to support. No medic station from my American friend, despite having 5 Rifleman teams. That will at least to me sort of indicate you might want that. Besides the supply out, of course. And then again, that was probably to get that motor pool. Rifleman heading towards the center. In fact, it's time to have a look at GrowCZ. And yes, indeed, we all have good and bad days. That's important to remember. Sometimes you just do absolutely terrible. And sometimes you do it for a week. Which I did previously. That's not a very fun experience. You sort of begin doubting yourself, your skills, and if you're actually a good caster as well for some reason. So there you go, Volksgrenadiers ready. And yeah, I'm hoping mine gets better, and he's sort of apparently wondering why I'm saying that, because I'm hoping, of course, I'm getting a win, a victory for the fatherland. So I don't waste more good German soldiers like that. It makes me sad. MG42 on the retreat, the Riflemen engaging the Volksgrenadiers and the Pak-38. There's a mine awfully close to the Pak-38, though I have to be careful about that. German forces advancing, aiming some Grenadiers ready. Hooray! And some infantry veterans up for those chaps. And another M8. He seems rather keen on moving those right into the mess of things. Though in this case I'm rather lacking the tools to deal with it. So far no doctrine, though. Panzerfaust goes off. Browning automatic rifles on the way. Pak-38s. Shots keep flying at the M8. Riflemen getting shot up as Grenadiers and Volksgrenadiers blast away. The cemetery being filled with dead already. The M8 this time actually manages to get away. Apparently there's even been a mine laid down there, and he's getting the 50 caliber upgrade. That's a nice move. There are no supply upgrades nor a medic station. That would certainly have helped him as well. And a medic bunker, of course, could help me. Oh, hiccups. Damn you. Not entirely sure why they're having a little get-together there. Grenadiers advancing, Volksgrenadiers covering them. Grenadiers being able to seize territory as fast as Riflemen has, actually, so that's actually a good thing there to remember. Can be used to quickly seize territory, even harass, although then again, then you might as well get the officer, the Wehrmacht officer, who's also able to seize as fast, and of course he can sort of send units running. And the M8 moves in. Halts the Grenadiers, opens up on them, 50 cal machine gun, 37mm gun also firing, and the Grenadiers retreat. Fun fact about the M8, it was originally intended as a tank destroyer. Yes, I'm not entirely sure whom had envisioned that little thing as a tank destroyer, but somewhere in the American army, someone did. Of course, it ended up as a reconnaissance vehicle, but there you go. Fun facts about the war. Certainly a few there, and lots of mines here by GrowCZ. He's really expecting me to sort of charge through in the north. Perhaps some sort of vehicular assault. And moving through in the north, but the MG42 quickly puts a stop to that. And he's gone armor indeed, and of course I sort of noticed it at this stage, I believe. Though I might be wrong, it could have been later on. Of course, as soon as I do, a sort of warning goes off in my brain, and of course immediately... Oh dear, I lost the MG42. Quite tragic. Pioneer set up in the cafe, and the rifleman either have to run in front of it or behind it. Of course, either getting shot by the flamethrower and hitting... Nope. Oh dear, the mine isn't finished. Bother. But there we go, hitting another mine, and looks like a rifleman team was in fact lost. But he has gone for armor. And the M8 gets off another good shot. M8 needs to get away again, crushing through all that barbed wire I had just spent so much time getting up. Nasty that. Sturm Armory on the way. But nonetheless, whenever I do see some sort of indication of armor doctrine, I always expect Pershings. And rifleman getting shot up. Quite a bit of firepower being directed against them. The M8 joins in as well. Volkskrone is moving in with the Panzerfaust to hunt the Hound. And there we go. Rifleman getting shot up. Need to retreat. Only 3 teams, in fact. GrowCZ, be careful of your riflemen. You know, keep them alive and get some medic stations to help with that. Seems to be a bit of poor unit preservation in that case, actually. And hopefully he doesn't take it too gravely and too personally when, of course, he probably sees this. And yes, well, of course, the American Empire was a great one. Anti-tank gun on the way, still no rifleman as such. And I was certainly impressed by his fighting capabilities. And securing what I can here in the south. Other grenadiers sort of mucking about. And of course, against the Pershing, though, the Sturm Armory vehicles aren't really going to be much help. I mean, a Stuk 4 is just going to get knocked out. Right out, in fact. Then again, I don't think I didn't notice there. And I bet you're getting Stuk, aren't you? And of course, that means, of course, he's been watching my replays. And of course, he's actually sort of intending something sneaky, something evil. Sort of, yes, I know what you're getting and I'm ready for it. Show me your Sturmgeschütz. And I'm not actually getting it much for once, you know. Sometimes I do like not getting a Stuk, and of course getting something else. Grenadiers engaging the rifleman right there. Not doing too well though for the rifleman, getting shot up in a nasty manner. And some pioneers forced away with minesweepers. So far I've not actually found any of his mines. And the M8 on the prowl for Volksgrenadiers in the south, managing 6 kills. Rifleman engineers in not such a great position, need some support weapons. Volksgrenadiers charging in and hunting down the anti-tank gun. Heavy losses for the Americans. Engineers were cleared out with a single grenade. Was that a mortar? Oh dear, I can't remember, but there we go. Getting the officer. Lieutenant Gottlieb reporting for action. He is steel. So am I. Just in case you're wondering. And we are seeing grenades from the Americans. First grenades going down. Rifleman also going down. And the officer looks very spiffy in his uniform. Watching over from the cemetery, directing the flow of battle. And there we go. My Volksgun is actually hitting one of the mines and are lost. Most tragic, they shall be remembered as heroes of the Reich. Pack 38 trying to catch that M8. Some fresh riflemen actually arriving, thus giving him 4 again. Still no supplied upgrades and still no medic stations. I do find that a bit sad. Again, with 5 teams, that would really have been a great thing. And these riflemen need to be careful. 3 men awfully wounded, and veterans 1 there, who's going to be a nice target. And this M8 needs to get away. You know, you have this nice building blocking the path. There we go. And the Pack 38 sadly gets no kill tonight, or at least right now. And the officer moves in. With a bit of support from Full Grenadiers and Riflemen moving in. Pioneers laying down a mine. Grenadiers blasting away. And there we go, there is the Stug 4. Not quite as the first unit though. But that's the secret, isn't it? And just in case you know people are watching my cast and sort of trying to figure out how to beat me, I don't always get a Stug first. And grenades going in on the Grenadiers, forcing them away. Officer still holds the line. Pioneers with flamethrowers getting off a few shots. They're burning one Yankee right away. Nasty mine. Very. Although I can't remember which one. Oh well. Oh wait, it was there. I think I lost a Volksgrenadier team actually. In a rather less than helpful manner, and happy manner for that matter. And the officer godly fires away. There's with a Luger, he gets it, and oh, I knew it. Well, I never claimed I wouldn't get one. Bit of subterfuge always helpful, and there we go, forced retreat, thus making things easier for my forces here to secure this immediately.
Germans are seizing territory from us.
All which I can do if the situation is not quite in your favor, and oh dear, Stug, be careful, no. And it sets off the mine, damaging the engine, and of course an anti-tank gun ready to be used if Mr. GrowCZ can decide to use it. But as a go have a turn at me, who have gone for terror, in fact, actually getting rather fond of it, and inspired in Assault in particular. But there you go. Mortar team coming in. Armored car in the south. And the Stug makes a getaway. Albeit a very slow one. Pioneers caught out in the open with these riflemen, and these riflemen really need to get back for some reinforcements and perhaps some healing if he had a triage center. But still, he doesn't even have a medic station. That's still not quite what I'm liking. M8 still prowling about. Catching some Grenadiers out in the open, moves in. And the Pack 38 still waiting there. Though has to try to move out a bit. More Volksgrenadiers caught out in the open by the Riflemen. Grenadier down, and Veterans who won for the M8. And these Riflemen, in fact, who were supposed to get away, have not gotten away. In fact, they're getting shot up. Retreat them, GrowCZ. I mean, you really ought to retreat them a lot earlier. And apparently he managed to get away with all luck. Stug 4 blasting the right and right here. No armor veterans as of yet. And Grenadiers caught out in the open as Riflemen charge in. Who shall be the victor right here? Grenades could be lobbed. There we go. Another M8, in fact, moving in. 2 Riflemen down. And the Lieutenant receiving heavy fire. And the Pack 88, number 2, running into the Pack 38. Stug 4 holding the line. Riflemen doing so as well. A BAR left behind. And... ow, I lost the mortar team already. That was quite tragic. Stug 4 getting charged. Volksgrenadiers doing their best to keep it safe. Or at least relatively safe. And some Pioneers caught out in the open, getting slaughtered. Everything is just going wrong. Chaos everywhere. But the Panzer Command is on the way. The Panzer of the Panzer Lehr might save the day. Bit of fighting going on here. Stug and Volksgrenadiers holding in the line. Allied armored cars in the north. And a mine is hit somewhere. But I have no idea where. Rats. But the Panzer Command is ready, and of course, what am I getting? Well, of course, I've at this stage definitely seen he's gone for armor, and of course, what that means I need something a bit better than a Stug 4. I need the Panther. I definitely need a Panther just in case, otherwise I'm going to get a nasty surprise. And of course, to sort of help with that, I've got an observation post on the fuel point. Seems like a fine game, yes indeed. And oh dear, the Pack 38 is running into some riflemen. Get away, Pack, get away! Save him, Lieutenant! And Gottlieb fires away heroically with his Luger at the rifleman. And the Stug moves into support. And yeah, I had absolutely no idea what that Pack 38 was doing. Sometimes you just give an order and for some reason they decide to do something very silly. And mates moving in with engineer support, laying down Greyhound mines. I mean, we're seeing some very, very interesting use of Greyhound mines here by GrowCZ. Not that I'm saying it's a bad thing. I mean, Greyhound mines are absolutely devious and you don't really see them being regularly used. But then again, I imagine GrowCZ has quite a bit of munitions. Though, of course, there's quite a good possibility right there. But still, not something to be advised. Again, against German infantry on the move as usual. American infantry making a charge towards the center. Lots of riflemen. However shall this go? Pioneers caught down in the middle of the road. Need to retreat and are lost. And Gottlieb also rather realizing this might not be the best situation for him. But fresh German troops are ready to support and turn the tide. And again hitting a mine. Pioneers not looking too good. Rifle moving towards the north. Grenadiers putting a stop to that. And clumping up, very, very not good move there. And of course 2 grenades really do some nasty damage to the rifleman right there. One team slaughtered. And another team could be lost as well. That was not really in his favor. And that's of course another reason why you want to be careful about clumping up right in front of troops that are capable of throwing grenades. You might actually get killed in nasty, nasty ways. And these riflemen really need to get out of there again. Know when to retreat, know when to fight. In that case, he should have retreated a lot earlier. Instead, he tried one last grenade, killing 1 grenadier, but losing 4 riflemen and 1.
Propaganda war has been unleashed.
Well, we don't know what that is. And the M8 has lost some rather sudden heavy losses for our friend GrowCZ, though he is still in the game. And certainly his M8 mines is certainly doing something to keep him in there. M8 charging right there, the Stu 4. Stu 4 forced a bit to retreat lest it gets flanked.
The enemy advances.
Central victory point being secure once more for the fatherland while the southern one is being taken by the Americans. Engineers coming under fire, the Stu knows he can deal with that. And Panzer 5 on survey. And a Calliope, yes indeed, no Pershings, but a Calliope, in which case of course I breathe a sigh of relief, knowing that I don't have to deal with a Pershing, because that would have been a lot much harder, even with a Panther, because that would still only be 1. So when I just see a Calliope, well, that's a lot easier to handle, comparatively that is. And I do believe it's actually time for the mid-game analysis. What is the situation? Mr. Dane, some of you might ask. Whatever could be happening? Well, currently I am holding both the victory points, but I'm not really holding most of the map that is currently in the hands of the Americans. Though I do have received this lovely Panther tank right here, ready to put a stop to the Americans dilly-dallying about with their M8s and their Calliopes prancing about. But I'll put a stop to that, yes indeed. And of course he does have some riflemen and an anti-tank gun, although he is lacking in riflemen. Again, he's not been too good at taking care of those riflemen. He's a bit too careless. That's a bit of his problem, and of course rather allows me to do some nasty things to them with something like, say, oh, I don't know, grenades. I mean, grenades can really make an effect, even grenadier grenades. I mean, some people seem to think that they must be rubbish just because they don't do quite the same job as American pineapple grenades. I mean, don't think like that. Just because something doesn't do something that's quite good doesn't mean it's bad either. And that's sort of some tendency I happen to see on the forums that some of you and elsewhere. If it's not as good as this, then it must be bad. No, it's not. It's just not as good. There's a vital difference in there. But nonetheless, doing all right. Although I still need to keep my troops alive, and of course it is a bit harder with all those Greyhound mines constantly being strewn about like eggs from a mad Easter bunny. And of course he needs to keep his men alive, and he of course needs to make a decent push, not just blasting into the wild blue yonder with the Calliope, but of course one thing, of course, when using artillery in particular on map, you fire the artillery and then you follow up. I mean, you want to use not just damage, but also the sort of chaos, the panic, the suppression it causes upon your opponent to effect to really push the assault or the defense, whatever, sort of that thing. And of course he needs a Pershing. Of course, had he gotten one at this stage, I might actually have a bit of more problem than might happen on later. And a few Knights Crossholders on the way. Figured I might as well get those to help a bit as well. M8 moving in, and of course that M8 is going to get a nasty surprise. And there we go, Panther moving in, Rifleman out in the open. Grenadier down though to the M8. Pulse Grenadier getting shot up. Not looking a bit too well, and the Panther trying to get away. Not wanting to get sticky bomb, that would be a bit of an unfortunate start to all of this fun.
Veterancy gained.
And the M8 apparently doesn't want to get away from the grace of the Panther. There we go. Driving right in front of it. That's the last place you want to be when there's a Panther on the field in front of it. Unless you're out of Pershing, I suppose. And anti-tank gun fires on this dude, doing a bit of damage. The M8 gets away miraculously. A bold move, running past them all. And perhaps towards safety. Who knows? Anti-tank gun is still there. Another Greyhound mine right there, I suspect. And a Calliope barrage. Officer and Grenadiers getting bombarded. The Grenadiers taking the most of the fighting. And of course, the Panther in this case, due to the cafe, actually survives quite a bit better. And the officer moves in heroically, intending to stop that anti-tank gun. Though I do wish he had a better weapon, like say an MP40 and STG 44 Sturmgewehr. But there we go, Knights Crossholders. And the Lieutenant needs to get away, but the Panther is on the move. Still no armor veterancy though, that's a bit... Oh wait, I do have one, but I might have get two as well. Panther on the prowl. M8 takes a hit. Rifleman advancing. And a tank depot going up, a bit late for that. But let us see how that works, in particular with the presence of a Panther. Grenadiers and officer ready. A slight defensive line there, although some sandbags right here could help. Rifleman charging right ahead. Quite a bit of automatic fire being directed against them, and the Knights Cross, careless about their own lives, move forwards. Assault rifles blazing in the night. False Grenadiers doing good support, and so the Grenadiers. Panther blasts away, the last cover for the Rifleman. One Knights Crossman goes down, and the Calliope fires away, causing a full rout. Not quite keen on standing out on that, although I'd definitely have to say this cemetery has probably been violently desecrated at this stage. I mean, that could be a bit of a problem. And the M8 tries to take the point, and the Panther tries to put a stop to that. Feuer frei. And there we go. One shot and one M8 dead. The Greyhound was no match for the big kitty cat. No idea why he did that though. Reinforcing as much as possible. Grenadiers advancing at the anti-tank guns once more, but running into Riflemen with BARs. Apparently, first Riflemen have been trained. Grenade going off, but the Grenadiers are getting suppressed by suppressive fire. Not good, not good. Retreat, Grenadiers. Riflemen moving forwards into the line of fire of the Panther, and one Rifleman is hit. Grenadiers pulling away from the grenade. Further Riflemen, apparently some engineers as well advancing. And a Hellcat tank destroyer is ready. Forced retreat on the Riflemen, exposing the anti-tank gun once more. And Gottlieb is on the move once more. And another Calliope barrage, hoping to get that Panther. Instead getting some Pioneers. Counterattack forces away the Rifleman with swift determination. Not entirely sure what he actually intends to do with that tank destroyer. I mean, again, it's a tank destroyer, so not a tank. So of course you have to be careful with it, and of course now he's rather telegraphing to me where it is. Of course that allows me to move in my Panther in a favorable position, like this one where the Hellcat doesn't really have much chance of maneuvering. Or does it? Actually it does. Silly me. And a nice rear hit, but so does the Panther get the Hellcat. Medic bunker right there. While he might not get a medic station, I'll certainly do my best to get a medic bunker up. Stuk 4. Getting flanked as well, that's not quite good. And the Lieutenant taking fire, another American assault going through the center. And all my forces are moving southwards to deal with that Hellcat. Not the best of timing. Lieutenant needs to get away from there. And the anti-tank gun kills Gottlieb, you bastard. You, Gottlieb, you shall be avenged, I swear it. Upon my imaginary Knight's Cross. And the Knight's Cross themselves clear out the anti-tank gun, thus getting vengeance. As I promised. In fact, rather swift vengeance. Riflemen not doing too well. And another Calliope barrage blasts away, bombarding the entire area, but the Knight's Cross hold the line despite enormous danger. They are not to be deterred. Grenade getting knocked, and what do the Knight's Cross holders do? Charge forwards into the danger, into the breach once more, and they get away with it pretty nicely. Again, sometimes the best move is just to be ridiculously aggressive. But GrowCZ is rather falling apart at this stage of the fight. Although I could certainly do with being a lot more aggressive. For example, moving about here and seizing those territories, we're going to start to speed things up. And another Hellcat hoping to get the Panther, but no such luck for him. And even a Panzerfaust to try and knock it out. No idea why I keep sending in those tank destroyers on their own without any support. Another attack, you know, to sort of keep things going. And another tank destroyer is no more. Yankee armor is kaputt. And Königstiger is arriving. And well, the Calliope is only as useful as the things it can hit. In that case, he's not really doing much of a job of hitting it or even getting the most out of it. He's just sort of randomly firing, it seems. And there we go, some sandbags to provide some defensive positions. Grenadiers with BARs, Knight's Cross holders, a few riflemen. And there we go, bombarding with the Calliope, right into the midst of everything. Engineers slaughtered. Grenadiers forced away in a more tragic manner. And the Knight's Cross hold the line in the middle of everything, despite heavy fire. They care not about that until, of course, they're forced to retreat. Being behind only a few forces to hold the line, the Panther and the Rifleman might want to get a Panzer 4, actually, to hold the line. Also, Veterancy 2 for that Panther. Of course, I could just wait for the King Tiger to arrive. Grenade on the Fultz Grenadiers, doing a bit of damage. But the King Tiger is here, and that, of course, is going to be quite a problem for GrowCZ. Even if he gets a Pershing at this stage, that's only going to be quite difficult. And a sticky bomb goes off on the King Tiger. And the engine gets damaged in a most tragic way. Panther keeps providing support. Riflemen getting shot up as they are trying to attack a King Tiger from the front. Not necessarily the best place to do it from, and they need to retreat. Further damage to the King Tiger, but not an awful lot. The rest to make a run for it. And still not a single upgrade for the supplier. I mean, you know, try to work on that. And the Grenadiers not doing too well either. And again, I really need to step up my game and sort of be more aggressive towards here. Take the victory points, then keep up the pressure on him, of course. I'm a bit too timid here after some of those less good experiences. Knight's Cross advancing once more. Riflemen once more taking quite a bit of damage. And once more the anti-tank gun. That wretched thing is left alone to fend for itself. And once more the Knight's Cross deal with that. And the Calliope watches across the river. Oh dearie me. For some reason I'm not repairing the bunker either, but then again, getting a repair bunker, and of course I'm talking about the King Tiger, silly me. Actually, I believe it's time to give a look at GrowCZ. My apologies for not reacting to that a bit earlier. I got a bit caught up in my own things. My sincerest apologies. The primary reason I casted this game is partly a lack of time, since I'm rather busy these days, partly mostly gaming actually. But of course I'm also going to have to cast a lot of games since I'll be off for a few days. So of course I need to build up a buffer so I actually have something to show you those days I'm away. So of course that also means less time for actually watching replays. It's always that balance of time which doesn't always quite favor me. But I know I can generally always trust on my own games to write. Some entertainment riflemen getting shot up out in the center, not doing too well. Again, standing out in the open, not too well all again. The churned up ground of the desecrated cemetery is certainly a good place to be. Then again, the King Tiger is also not the thing you want to be right in front of. Further riflemen getting trained. Still no attempt actually at neither of them to harass here even more. Or for example moving through here. He seems to sadly have gotten stuck in sort of a rut. I mean, he was rather nice agile in the beginning, but then now he's just getting sort of stuck in the let's bang my head into a wall. And yes, I keep playing this game after year. I mean, I play so many other games, but Company of Heroes is the one I pretty much always play, and I've done so for many years. And that's the truth. And I'm certainly looking forward to a sequel I can also play for many years. Rifleman advancing, grenadiers ready, and a Calliope flying. Oh dear. Grenade at the rifleman, no. The cover of the wreck of the Stugax provided some cover, of course no more. And now those riflemen need to get away before the King Tiger finishes them all off. Panther is ready. And of course, since we had a fun fact about the M8, let's have a fun fact about the Panther. As everything here is getting slaughtered. The early variant of the Panther tank, right in 1943, had a tiny flaw that meant, let's just wait for the fighting over, that if it sort of tipped over in a certain angle, the engine would catch on fire for no apparent reason. Well, that was probably a reason for it, but you know, it would just catch on fire. So I mean that if the Panther, for example, went into a ditch, it would suddenly be on fire. So again, that was a very silly mistake of a flaw in the Panther design actually. And oh dear, those riflemen are getting absolutely torn to bits, aren't they? And I think actually the rifleman team was lost there. And the King Tiger is absolutely brutal. It's punishing them with a high explosive 88mm shells. Nasty that. And yes, that was brutal. It's quite rare you see the King Tiger doing that many kills in short time. And what would I do against such heavy tank spam? Of course he asks me. I mean, I wouldn't have gone for the Calliope first. If I'd gone for a Pershing a lot earlier, I would probably also been trying to keep my rifleman a bit earlier alive, and of course had a medic station. And yes, I wouldn't have gone Calliope. There we go. And a nice Calliope barrage that does quite a bit of damage to me. I mean, a well-placed Pershing can actually do quite a bit of damage. Another rifleman team is lost again. He's not quite good at retreating at proper times. That's rather his problem. And yes, it's a much greater direct threat. I mean, had it been earlier, I'd probably might have been a lot more scared than a Calliope. Even a Panther might have a bit of a problem with that, even with the Strook support. Rifleman advancing. King Tiger and Panther, and the Panther needs to turn about. And yes, I was constantly worried about a Pershing ever since that one game where I had an opponent who threw 3 Pershings at me during one game as the Panzer Lehr. I'm always worried when I see even the slightest sign of armor from my opponent. Rifleman getting torn up. Churned up, in fact, on the fields. Well, what remains of the cemetery? I mean, there's barely anything left. I mean, the tombstone's all gone. And Calliope flying. And that's rather the point. Had the Pershing been out earlier, could have been a lot more. Sadly, now that's not the case now, is it? Grenadiers fighting off against all the riflemen. Again, he's sort of going for this sort of direct assault approach, and again against all of this firepower, and of course now with an LMG-42 and inspired assault, things are not quite going as well for him. 32 kills on one rifleman team, in fact. Or grenadier team, I mean. And then we have this grenadier team with BARs and an LMG-42. Quite a bit of automatic firepower in one team. And that's GG. Of course, for some reason, he doesn't actually stop playing. Veteran 22 for the Panther, though, getting a bit of an light machine gun itself. Mind you, the MGs mounted right there and there were actually not MG-42s, those were MG-34s. Since while they had, of course, their own problems, they were actually much better for use inside tanks than the MG-42. And clearly he's not giving up. In fact, he's gone straight for 4 rifleman teams. And whatever is he up to, I don't know. But let us speed things up. This is going to be a bit of a long game. And of course, charging right into a bit of automatic fire again. Inspired assault, tearing through all of this. Calliope barrage right at all of this. Oh dear, of course, inspired assault, of course, makes them easier to hit. And that Calliope is certainly taking full advantage of it. Grenadiers going down in quite nasty manners. Knight's Cross still moving about, though.
Observation posts report.
And some riflemen moving in here. I mean, he probably should have been doing that a lot earlier, you know, flanking through here. You know, forcing me to spread out rather than sort of just keeping banging his head into a wall. Sandbank's going down there from the Grenadiers to provide a slightly better vantage point. And he could call in a Pershing now, I think, actually. Or at least get the punch for blitz, speed things up. And there we go, Pershing getting ready. Mine hit. Marvin running into a bit of trouble. Running into the bunker complex of the Panzer Lehr. Or at least being awfully close to it. And charging right through here. Grenadiers being forced away by a grenade. And the Calliope flies away. But not there. It is in fact going here, hoping to get the Panther. Damaging the engine. Damaging. And lots of automatic fire. However, shall the Grenadiers do? That did alright, all not spectacularly. And some Grenadiers right here. Panther still needs to move, although damaged engine. And looks like, in fact, I have something in mind. Something sneaky, perhaps. A direct assault on the American base. With my armor basically deciding I want to finish this here and now. Since I rather feel I have the advantage to do so. So moving in the King Tiger, moving in the Panther. Despite it having a damaged engine. And let's return to me. Another Panther on the way.
What is the target?
And there we go, veteran 3 Calliope now, actually, 21 kills. King Tiger facing it. He wants to get that Calliope away. And there we go, the Pershing is coming in. Field repairs being active. And there we go, Pershing moving in. King Tiger and Panther on the field. Veteran 3 for the Panther even. And now there's quite a bit of fire being directed against the Pershing. Rifleman charging in. Right out into the open. Sticky bombs on the King Tiger. And the duel continues right here. And now the Pershing might soon be done for. Second Panther on the way. The Panzer Lehr pushes onwards victoriously. Some riflemen once more trying to move in with a few sticky bombs.
High command, B1 rocket. You must choose a target.
B1 rocket ready, and now the German armor slowly advances, rather crippled a bit. The engine's not in very good condition. And well, let's speed things up a bit. Lots of sticky bombs on that King Tiger. Panther moving in. Several Panthers on the move throughout the base. I mean, it's pretty much game over at this moment. Apparently, since last time I did this, there were a few complaints. I decided not to do so again, just cut it short. Then again, others actually asked for it. And there we go, Panther down. But so the caliber will soon be, and those riflemen are absolutely annihilated. And there we go, game over. And GG, victory for the Panzer Lehr in the face of all this. Losing one Panther in the process, and some others, including the heroic Gottlieb. Of course, what can we learn from this one? We saw some good aggression from the American commander early on, you know, flanking about, moving about, sneaking about. Not rather interesting use of Greyhound mines. I mean, you don't really see that aggressive use of Greyhound mines like that very often. Anyhow, of course, that's... But his problem was he wasn't really good at keeping those riflemen alive. He wasn't really good at keeping going in the long run. I mean, he could have gotten, for example, you know, let's say, some supply and upgrades. He could have gotten the medic station. That would really, really have helped him in the long run. But sadly, he didn't get either, and that was really one of his main problems, of course. Then came the rather early reveal, which sort of rather keyed me in. I probably ought to be expecting a Pershing at some stage. Of course, I didn't get one, but again, rather expect a Pershing, and if you don't, we'll move in the Panther to clear out that mess or something like that. So, of course, a bit of a problem there from Mr. GrowCZ on that point. He was a bit, also had a bit of tendency of not retreating in time. You need to work on that. That's, of course, is a bit of a matter of training, sort of a bit of feeling, you know. Eventually you'll get the hang of it, but again, rule of thumb is if you don't really feel you're gaining from it, run away. I mean, know when to play it, know when to fold it, or something like that, you know. Get a feeling forward and know when to stand your ground and know when to get the bloody hell out of there. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this fight. If you did, why not subscribe or tell your friends? And if you didn't, well, why not send in a replay of your own? This is ImperialDane saying cheers.